everybody, it's Luna Bell. Y'all, my hair, it's growing. It's not near as thick as it used to be, but I'm grateful. Grateful. Hold on, let's look that word up. I ain't gonna kid you. I'm gonna listen to spirit here. Y'all work with me a minute, but let's work with spirit. Grateful is an adjective, but it is a feeling or showing an appreciation of kindness, received or experienced with gratitude, welcome, enjoying the grateful shade. Let's see what the origin of it is. It originates from the Latin root gratis, meaning pleasing or thankful, and evolved into the English through Old French and Middle English usage. Gratis, which means pleasing or agreeable, favor, kindness. Let's see. Y'all, that etymology, I'm probably pronouncing that wrong. It dates back to the mid 1500s, meaning pleasing to the mind or full of gratitude, disposed to repay favors bestowed. It is formed from the obsolete adjective great, meaning agreeable, pleasing, or thankful, plus the suffix ful. So great itself is a learned borrowing from the Latin gratis, mean an agreeable, a pleasing, beloved, dear, grateful, thankful. The Proto-Indo-European root, well, G, it has the, I don't know what this is, meaning to express approval, praise, to elevate. Interesting. I wonder when that really came into being. I mean, it mentions the mid 1500s, but it also, I know they had that meaning in the beginning somewhere, surely. But it also reminds me of the, when they mentioned the 1500s of women being pleasing or, oh, you're the man, you're the man. That bow down attitude. I wonder about that. Bitch makes me curious. Curiosity got the cat. Y'all, one of the things I was thinking about, and I suppose it's been heavy on my mind today because of my copycats, and y'all, I feel their thoughts. I am a psychic empath, and I'm intensely sensitive. You could be on the other side of the world, and I'll be able to feel you. And this is one thing I don't think people understood about when I read you, like with that Dave 1979, bitch, you can't feel guilt. You can't do something and then have this automatic pain of feeling guilt because I'm going to notice it. I may not say anything, but I'm going to know and remember that when I said a particular something, that you felt guilt or you felt shame or you felt fear or anger or whatever the emotion was, or lust. That's I feel you very intensely. Anyhow, those feelings of guilt, but people have other mannerisms. Now, I remember when the first time I read for my fucking wannabe Hannah Montana bitch over there in Louisiana way or wherever the fuck she's from. Allegedly, she travels in the medical profession. See, in the beginning there, when she first reached out to me, and she followed me for a long time on my original TikTok account, my first one. Little did I know that she had connections over here in Elbowtown, or probably to some relatives or Nutter Butter or Swamp Dick. She is around Nutter Butter's age, maybe a little younger, I don't know. Doesn't really matter. But I have a bunch of family over in Elbowtown way as well. I bring this up because she had called me and asked for a personal reading, and I did it for her. But what I channeled out, she was concerned about a man. But anyhow, what I had channeled out, though, was about a loved one that had passed on. He was special needs. And he was unalived. He was sick, yes. And I remember the feeling, thank you for confirmation. It was the first time I'd really ever felt what it felt like for another person to have their lung collapse. It was the left lung. I tell you what, that's something else, because not only did I feel it, my breathing was affected by it, because it felt like it was happening to me. Now, I bring this up because of it's insanely sensitive. I mean, I'm that intensely sensitive. Many of us are. This was a special needs patient, vulnerable. I mentioned before that I'm being reminded of my mama. I'm autistic, y'all. I'm probably high functioning, but I am autistic. I have I'm neurodivergent with all the DTisms. My grandbaby, my youngest daughter, her baby, he's telepathic. He's like me. He's like his mama. I don't think his mama's autistic, but my youngin is. One moment. Okay, I'm pretty sure my youngin is autistic, but y'all, I mentioned that because, I don't know if he's nonverbal or not, but my impression is he's not verbal. I don't know. I hadn't seen my grandbaby in probably a year and a half, 2 years. Not from choice. I know that my youngin is being abused, allegedly. I know that my daughter was being abused. Now, let me reference Nutter Butter as well. I remember my old best friend one time called me over to her house after she had married her second husband. And she was getting her daughter ready for a beauty pageant. And I remember how anxious and, well, it was beyond anxiety that my best friend or my old best friend was displaying. It bordered on fear of not having her daughter perfect, or not having her hair just perfect, or her appearance. This reminds me of the stuff with Epstein. It is. Now, I'll go back to the moment now, and I also reference Nutter Butter and Swamp Dick. Swamp Dick is a PDFer, an essayer, a serial essayer and PDFer. There is a lot of incest. Now, let me go back to my own childhood. I remember being 2 years old, and my mama put me out on the front porch with the dog and her pups. That dog was my mama. I got milk from her teat like her pups, okay? She was my mama, and that was my bottle. I didn't get the milk from my mama, nor did I get the bottles from my mama. Starvation was a regular thing with my mama. She was also part of the MK Ultra. I will also tell you, allegedly, that my mama was institutionalized in Jacksonville, Florida, in 1966. Abuse of all forms has always been in my life, okay? The essaying and incest and the trafficking by my mama and family, my daddy's family as well, has always been present. I'll tell you now that in all the individuals that I have mentioned just now, that it has been a part of their life as well. Some of them are serial, habitual offenders. Serial, okay? The vulnerable individuals, such as myself. And I remember when I was 2, put out in the yard with the dog and her pups. My mama would be in the house or whatever, and there's stories in our family of how I'd wander close to the road, and our dog Hope would pick me up by the back of my diaper in her mouth and carry me back up to the top of the yard by the porch. It was my dog that took care of me and watched over me. But my mama, much like Nutter Butter, was into the shrug scene and enjoyed the essaying of her own youngins. And she enjoyed including other people for shrugs. This is what is called a feral pig hunt, okay? Because there are some of us that are mixed in race and not as white as some of others. And here I reference you white supremacist motherfuckers. This also addresses some of the Masons and the Eastern Stars as well. And organized corruption, organized crime. They are predators looking for an easy and cheap meal that they can make money off of. PDFers are top of the line. The consumption of people as well, and the organ harvesting and so much more. The weak, or the ones that are considered vulnerable, have always been easy prey. The poor, the neglected, and the abused. Many times the black sheep, the unseen, the unheard, and most times unloved. In a society and a system that is supposed to report abuse and does not, or openly looks at it and turns the other way. It's an open secret. But you do nothing. You mouth pretty words, but you don't do a damn thing. I called in to the Covington County Police Sheriff's Department in Andalusia, Alabama, about the arms, the multiple, and there was over 100 in that house laying within reach of my grand youngin. He wasn't even 2. There was an AK on top that my daughter's boyfriend built from the bits and pieces with no numbers. What did you do with all them with no numbers? But it was on top of the dog's crate. And I had said something, baby, you can't have that there. My grandbaby could touch that. It was the last time I saw my grand youngin and my daughter. I reported that. What happened? Why was my daughter, why was my grandbaby not protected? Why was it covered up? Why? Because it hadn't been that long since her daddy had died or my late husband had passed. And there was a huge fortune, over almost $6 billion stolen. That her boyfriend was tied to the Asian gangs out in California. that his daddy and his mama had already been in prison, and his daddy still was for a life sentence for murder tied to, gang activity and their shrugs. I even reported that they were getting shipments from California of this shit to their home. My mama was allowed to continue in her abuse the same way because I know things were reported. I know my soccer coach when I was 15 and the team mother, I know that they had reported it. I know that they were reported by the coach on the Fort Benning, Georgia team as well. It was ignored. It was overlooked because they were tied to corruption and far much worse. The PDFers, the trafficking of youngins. Not just stealing cars and bringing them to Clahatchie, Alabama, for my aunt's in-laws. Let's go back to these beauty contests that are so familiar with Epstein. There's a connection as well to truckers to that. I channeled that stuff out about that facility, that underground facility over in Ozark under a memorial site. I turned that in to his defense attorney. Why was that overlooked? Why was it suppressed? Because it's a very profitable business under the ground there. See, right after Swamp Dick and I rejected Swamp Dick for lying, that's the gist of it. I rejected that man for lying. If you're going to be in a fuck-buddy relationship, don't be lying about who you're fucking. Damn, don't tell me you ain't fucking someone else when you're fucking lying. And you're in just a fuck-buddy, something casual, not to be a relationship, because I honestly didn't think I was ready for a relationship. I wanted to love her, and most especially didn't want one who was a damn liar. It was after that I started being contacted by @Dave1979 on TikTok and being followed by other that were associates and friends of Swamp Dick, of a certain lifestyle community that I knew nothing about. Human trafficking in all its forms, of the weak and the vulnerable, the BlackSheeps. I was targeted by Swamp Dick and my family. This is something that was planned out. This is something that was planned years ahead. I know by my family that I was illegally videoed and recorded in my home. Well, probably from when the time that we had the work done on our home, the repair work from where we had the black mold remediation. I wondered why my sister and her son kept coming over here while nobody lived here and they were doing the repairs. But even after that, when my father-in-law remarried, the massive amount of transfer of funds from this account to that account and all these wild-ass vacations. I mean, the Masons and the Eastern Stars. Corruption. Organized crime. And you got a trucker. Well, it's far more than that. A trucker that's into human trafficking. Then we got Nutter Butter, who's much like her mama and much like my mama. That she didn't mind doing the same thing to her daughter with Swamp Dick and @Dave 1979. Swamp Dick's daughter loved to bring home homeless women and their children. And then they just disappear. Do you see the pattern of abuse? of the vulnerable that are targeted, the ones that are supposed to be protected. Now, let me go back to your medical professionals. Can I tell you how many times my HIPAA rights have been violated, or my medical records changed, or things taken out of it, or things put in it that aren't even true? Let me go back to that one autistic, that one, well, I'm not sure if he was autistic, but I know that he was a vulnerable adult. He was special needs. And he was on a vent, and his left lung had collapsed. And this is the Hannah Montana bitch out of Louisiana. I fucking wannabe, one of them. You travel, don't you, darling? See, at that underground facility, they need medical professionals because allegedly they harvest organs as well. You have to have medical staff. You have to have an ambulance to transport, helicopters. You have to have the paramedics, the EMTs, the doctors, the nurses, the anesthesiologists, and everybody else that harvest organs. You have to have the assistance of funeral homes or crematories as well, because the bodies that are, already have no life in them, well, now they're weak and vulnerable as well. That is a profitable business. There are some who have a sexual fixation on that kind of thing. Should I tell you about the medical doctor and medical people that perjured themselves on a stand in a court case that I have no knowledge of other than what I'm told by Spirit? How's that? How am I represented? Who's speaking for me? Who bought furniture in my name at Hank's Furniture in Dothan? Who bought a vehicle in my name? Who's using my identity? Who stole my inheritance? Who helped them with all this? This is organized crime. This is exploiting the ones that are weak and vulnerable. This is exploiting and abusing autistic people, the widows, the widowers, honeypot scams, flat-out abuse, human trafficking. Who protects our special needs that are on a bent? I know I channeled that out. And I even channeled out that with Bradley Strassner case, that he confronted a woman across from a fire that he was in an incestuous relationship with, that she was in love with him. And he was trying to work things out with his spouse. But he confronted her about something, this woman. 23:33 on my timer. It wouldn't be a suspicious unaliving of a special needs individual, would it? See, the collection of life insurance policies for people, y'all, I can't tell you how many times that they have tried to unalive my ass, including a fucking hitman from Louisiana tied to this Hannah Montana bitch. See, allegedly, she started having an affair with a married man in a cabin, probably a mile away. Well, now, from a certain creek that I channeled out for his wife. Allegedly, I'd have to say that she was rather pissed to find out that he was having such an affair in their home. I used to tell that old Hannah Montana bitch, my fucking wannabe, you wouldn't have any ties to Savannah, Georgia now, would you? I always dreamed I used to watch Shag and Scooby growing up in the Mystery Van. She was one of the first ones I told that I'd be known worldwide and that I'd be famous worldwide for being a psychic investigator. I told her she would help me. And you have. There's a manager, a nurse manager. See, the thing about medical folk, they can be serial in nature as well. Makes them feel like God, the giving and taking of life. Some of them enjoy just watching it ebb away and then jumping in at the last very second. Some of them just like to watch it go away and think about the dollar signs they're going to collect. So now, allegedly, someone else confronted Bradley Stracher's cousin as well. Something happened to his mama. She knew who was across from that fire, allegedly. She knew who it was. So do I. So does that investigator, that corrupt motherfucker, that corrupt PI. $1.7 million. That's a lot of money out of almost $6 billion, baby. Dropping the bucket, wouldn't you say? What is the price of your Judas betrayal? What is the true intent in your heart? I speak out for the black sheep. The unseen, the unheard, and many times the unloved. I have even channeled out the information for Genesis. Oh, and it's spot on, bitch. It's fucking spot on. My investigators here in town are the one from Homeland Security. This is the one from Homeland Security. He is very gifted, extremely so. I'm a baby compared to him. He was needed to, well, all the hoodoo, voodoo, and ritual magic that is done, root magic. I don't know shit about root magic, but anyhow. Are y'all still investigating the Amber Alert I had mentioned to y'all that I had channeled out? I gave specific things. Not surprisingly, damn if one of the things, a point of contact, was in LaGrange, Georgia. Bitch, you don't say. I do. I do. That ain't too far from Valdosta, where one of Swamp Dick's cousins was close by one of their addresses, allegedly. Or not even further still from Savannah, where allegedly there's a dumping site where they do a lot of rituals of a church sex cult kind of bullshit thing. You don't say. The lifestyles of the rich and famous connected to Epstein. Kind of wild how all this got pieced together. That they've been working on this case, I'm hearing for about 30 years. Y'all targeted the wrong fucking widow. Did they target the wrong widow? Yeah, and the wrong damn psychic widow. Just call me a black widow, bitch. I don't care. Surprise, motherfucking surprise. That shit biting you in the ass, ain't it, darling? Well, bon appetit. Yum yum. I like dessert, by the way. Bitch is hungry. Many blessings to you. Blessed be. But I hope y'all see how some of these dots are connected in the bigger scheme of thing, and why I speak out so much, and I won't fucking quit. Not just my truth, but the others as well. You got the wrong bitch. I ain't weak, nor am I vulnerable. Bitch, I might be the black sheep, but I will come up behind you, and I will get my lick back. Don't you ever doubt that.